If you have stubborn muscle knots in your neck and upper shoulders that you would like to eliminate forever, you're in the right place. This video is for you. Because in the first half of this video, I want to show you some tips and some stretches that you can do to help alleviate this muscle knot pain right now and hopefully help you to feel a lot better. But then in the second half of the video, I want to show you some different exercises that will help to eliminate the pain and keep it away. Because a muscle knot is an area of irritation in a muscle. Usually it's held in this tight, contracted position. That's why it feels tight. That's why it's a little tender to the touch. But it is the result of a different problem. Or said another way, it's the symptom of a different cause. And so think about it like fire giving off smoke. I can spray the smoke to clear the room, but that smoke is just going to come back because I didn't do anything about the cause. What I need to do is not only spray the smoke to maybe clear the room out, but also spray the fire so the smoke doesn't come back. And so that's what I want to do. I want to show you how you can feel better now and then some other exercises to keep that pain away. That's the benefit that I hope that you get from this video. Hope it's incredibly helpful for you. Let's get into it. The three things that we need to do to alleviate this trigger point pain right now are heat, trigger point release or massage, and stretching. Let's start with heat. There are a couple of different options available. This heating pad is electric, plugs into the wall. This one you throw into the microwave to heat it up. I've got both linked in the description down below. Both are great, whatever your personal preference might be. But we're just gonna throw that over that area that's knotted up. You can do it upright, you can do it lying down. We're just gonna leave it on there for 10 to 15 minutes. It's a great way to increase blood flow into that area and promote relaxation into that muscle knot. The next thing that we want to do is some form of a trigger point release or muscle knot release. That's the fancy way of saying massage with a purpose. Actually, my favorite way to do this, the most convenient thing that I think, would be a tool that looks like this. This is called a Theracane. It's rigid, it's plastic, it's got this knob here on the end, and basically what you're gonna do is put that over your shoulder and just apply that direct pressure right in wherever that muscle knot may be. I've got that linked in the description below, but don't feel like you need to buy that because we can do a similar thing with a tennis ball or with a lacrosse ball. And so what I'm going to do is put the tennis ball here in a pillowcase, and that's just going to provide a handle, something that I can hold on to and kind of control where it is. And then if I put that over my shoulder, you'll see that I can move up and down and out and in and all around to wherever that muscle knot might be. And now I'm going to back up to a wall and I'm going to apply pressure against the wall right there. I always get one like right at the top of my shoulder blade. I'm going to apply pressure through the wall just as much as I can handle. I can lean more into it or more off of it depending on my tolerance. But what you can do is kind of move that around, move it up and down until we find areas that are maybe a little more tight, a little more knotted up, a little more painful. And then once we get to that spot, what I like to start with is you can just hold it for 3 to 5 seconds and then kind of roll off it a little bit and then come back and hold it for 3 to 5 seconds. Try to increase time. You can go up to 10 to 20 seconds. But what you should notice is that as you apply that pressure, that trigger point or that tightness starts to release. And then the last thing that I even like to add would be a mobilization while we're applying that pressure. So find that area, find where it's tight, hold that tennis ball right there, bring your arm into this position, and then you can pull your arm across your body. That's going to stretch your muscle out. It pulls your shoulder blade further away from your spine, and that adds just a little bit different feel to it. And then what I want you to do is perform about 3 to 5 of these big arm sweeping motions while applying that pressure through that tennis ball. And again, it's just a great way that we can actually mobilize that muscle a little bit while we're doing some of this trigger point release to it with the tennis ball. About 3 to 5 of these big arm sweeps. You can take a little bit of a break, work it out a little bit, and then repeat that 2 to 3 times. And now that we've got that muscle knot nice and released with the trigger point release with the heat, what we want to do is finish it up with some stretching. And these are the two stretches that I like for that. The first one is going to be an upper trap stretch. So basically from the base of my skull out here to the tip of my shoulder. In order to do that, I'm going to take my hand and place it to the small of my back, tilt my head away from the shoulder until I get a good comfortable stretch right up here through that upper trapezius. Keep in mind, stretching should be very comfortable. If it's painful, you've pushed a little too far and just need to back off slightly. If you can tolerate even more, what I want you to do is with your opposite hand, reach to the other side of your head and you can apply a little overpressure in this direction just to enhance that stretch up here in this upper trapezius. I would hold that for 20 seconds and repeat it 3 times. And then the other stretch that I love is going to be the levator scapulae stretch. The levator scapulae muscle basically goes from the base of your skull to the tip of your shoulder blade. To stretch that out, what I want you to do is rotate your head about 45 degrees and then tilt your nose down towards your pocket. I call this one the smell your armpit stretch, because now what we're going to do is with that hand, you can reach up to the back side of your head and apply just a little more overpressure, pushing your nose down towards your pocket, down towards the floor in this direction. And again, just a good, comfortable stretch from the base of your skull to the tip of your shoulder blade. I would hold that one for 20 seconds and repeat it 3 times. Hey, if you've been following along with the exercises so far, I hope those muscle knots are feeling so much better. I hope that we've even worked some of them out. Again, that was my goal for the first half of the video. In fact, I would love to hear from you. Comment below, let me know how we're doing up to this point. Now what we need to do is transition into keeping those muscle knots away, or said another way, we're going to show you how to address the 2 main causes of muscle knots. And they are a forward head posture and weakness in the muscles of your upper back. If your head is forward, if your shoulders are rounded, those upper traps have to turn on all the time. That's what causes that fatigue and weakness in the muscle knots. And so if we can correct that and then train the muscles to hold you upright in that better position, those muscle knots don't come back. Here's how you do it. 2 of my favorite posture correction techniques take place right down here on the ground. One requires a foam roller, the other just requires a rolled up pair of socks. And so for the foam roller, what I like to do is actually lie down on top of it so that the foam roller covers the length of my spine. Now in this position, you can just try to relax and just try to let gravity pull your chest and shoulders back. Let it take your head down to the foam roller. This is actually a great way that you can work on that posture and unrounding your upper back, pulling your head back where it needs to be. The other thing that I like to show people on this is to make it a little more dynamic. If you're laying down on here, you can go palms up, knuckles down on the ground, and you can do just comfortable snow angels. I call them foam roll angels. Just moving your hands up and down in this arcing motion to turn it a little more dynamic. Either way, what I want you to do is spend about 5 minutes on that a couple of times a day is a really great way to correct and work on that posture. If you don't have access to that foam roller, what I want you to do is get a pair of socks, roll them up, and then we're going to lie down on those on the ground. If you do this on the bed, bed's usually a little too soft to make it effective. And so we're gonna put it right below the base of my neck is where we want it. It's gonna feel like a little bit of pressure right there between your shoulder blades. It's basically pushing our back, it's unrounding our spine. And then what I like to do is add some chin tucks to that. And so what I want you to do is with your chin, pull that down into your throat. You're gonna try to flatten the back of your neck down into the ground. And what I want you to do is hold that for about 3 to 5 seconds, and then you can return back up here to the starting position. Now this one might be a little uncomfortable at first, but the longer you do it, the more reps that you put in, the more your posture corrects, it should become more and more tolerable. And so on this one, what I'll usually do is just set a 2-minute timer in the clinic, and you can go for that amount of time. Finally, and in my opinion, most importantly, the last thing that we need to do is strengthen the postural muscles in our back to keep those muscle knots from coming back. I've got 4 great exercises for you to do that. 2 of them will require some sort of resistance, so bands or cables, pulleys, things like that. The other 2 will not. So hopefully you find something that works for you and for your unique situation. And so grab a band and anchor it here in front of you. This is going to be just some simple rows. We're going to start in this position with a little bit of tension on that band. What I want you to do first is stand nice and upright, point your chest up towards the ceiling. I want you to strengthen in this posture, not in this posture. So nice and upright. Now what I want you to do is squeeze your shoulder blades together, pull your elbows back behind you, hold 1, 2, and then slowly return back to that starting position. Just until we get a really good squeeze in those muscles right between the shoulder blades. That's what we're after. I want you to feel this in your back, in your middle traps, in your rhomboids. That's the area that we're trying to target. You're going to repeat that for about 15 repetitions and then repeat that 3 times. Exercise number 2 would be a band pull apart. This one's going to require a slightly lighter band. We're going to start in this position right here, just with the elbows extended, both hands right in front of you. Really good posture, and so I want you to pull your shoulder blades together, point your chest up at the ceiling, and then we're going to pull the hands apart as far as you can take them until we get a really good squeeze, we get a really good contraction in the back, and then slowly return back to that starting position again. Again, the focus here is to squeeze those shoulder blades together while maintaining that really good posture, about 10 to 15 repetitions, repeated 3 times. Now there's a variation of that that doesn't require the band. This is going to be a prone T. And so you're going to lie down on your stomach on the ground with both arms extended. Now what I want you to do is lift your chest up while you're pulling your hands up towards the ceiling. Hold 1, 2, 3, and then slowly return back down to that starting position. Again, the emphasis here is I really want you to feel it between those shoulder blades, working in those muscles as you try to pull those shoulder blades together. You're going to repeat that for about 15 repetitions and then do that 3 times. And then finally, the last body weight exercise that I love for these postural muscles is going to be a wall angel. And so you're going to back up to a wall. I want your hips, shoulder blades, and the back of your head up against the wall. That promotes this really good posture position. From here, I want you to rotate your hands like this until you get the backs of your knuckles against the wall as well. Now keep those knuckles against the wall as you slide them up over your head, pause 1, 2, and then slowly return back down to that starting position. This is a great way to work. You're going to feel this not only the muscles between your shoulder blades, but these external rotators in your shoulders as well. It's a great way to unround your shoulders and just work on correcting that posture. We're going to do 15 reps. We're going to repeat it 3 times. I hope these help your muscle knots to not only feel better now, but never come back again. Thank you so much for watching.